So let's introduce our next panel when we focus on business life in Guernsey, innovation, support and success. Please welcome up here Greta Pender, Director from Collas, Crill Trust and Corporate Services, Andrew Watson, our case study business owner who's the MD of Titan, and Justin Bellinger, Chair of Innovate's Guernsey Board. Welcome to you all. Thanks very much for being with us, to all three of you. And I think some people might be sitting here today thinking, well, look, I've got my business here, it's set up. Maybe it's in the UK, maybe it's elsewhere. Can I move it to Guernsey? Is it just simply, lifting it from one place to another? Perhaps, Greta, I can come to you from a legal perspective on that first. And you can tell people here what they need to consider.
Sure. So if your business is housed within a company, perhaps a UK company or another jurisdiction, it very much depends where that company is currently located as to whether you can just pick it up and migrate it into Guernsey. One of the key things, whether that's someone looking to migrate their existing company or setting up a new one, would be please go and get tax advice. There are a few essential things that need to be sort of understood and discussed with tax advisors on that front. I believe there's a panel session later on tax, so I won't delve into that too much, but there are certain considerations about management and control that need to be factored in.
Yeah, do you just want to delve into that in a little bit more detail? Just tell us about what a couple of those considerations might be. I know you flagged the tax chat. We'll get into the details then, but perhaps you've got a couple of thoughts on that.
So it's really about the economic substance rules. So Guernsey is a sort of robust, reputable financial jurisdiction. Is very careful to make sure that we're not just offering a kind of brass plate type service. So where you can imagine, one chap sat in an office with 3,000 different companies listed and he's providing the registered office for all of them. The economic substance rules are an international standard so that there's actual real management and control and activity being undertaken by those Guernsey companies. So you might need to consider if you're going to be director of the company and you're moving to Guernsey, that may be sufficient. Or you may need to get in touch with a corporate service provider who can assist with providing those kind of services for you. So
maybe there might be some help and support out there. Perhaps we can bring you in at this stage, Justin, because we'd like to first of all let people here know, what is the Innovate Guernsey Board? What does it do?
So we're a newly set up group, actually, an advisory group to government, so set up specifically by the Economic Development Department. And our purpose is to help shape the future of innovation in Guernsey. So really that's through collaboration, ideas and action. So we listen deeply and amplify loudly for the community. So our job is a facilitator. Our primary purpose is diversifying our economy. And that's not to say we haven't got a diverse economy already. We've got incredible pockets of innovation that go back through centuries. And our job is to collect that, shout about it, not only within our island, but also to the world. So very much a facilitator. Davey mentioned earlier that we're a small and nimble jurisdiction. And getting access to the right people, whether that's politically, from investment and through the civil service, nudging policy where we need to do. That's what our group does. So we just got together. I've got a board of, there's 7 of us in total, got together earlier this year and are starting to really move the dial on innovation in Guernsey. Okay,
we'll talk to you a bit more about that later. Interesting point you touched on about diversifying as well, because people want diverse economies these days as well. So for people thinking, look, is Guernsey literally just about, law, finance and tourism? Maybe we can come back to you a bit later on that front. But it's really great to have Andrew Watson here with us today, because this is going to give you a clear flavour of, if you are looking to move your business to Guernsey, what indeed is that like? Andrew can tell us because he's done it. So tell us first of all why you decided that Guernsey was the right fit for you and your business.
Well, I think it's important to firstly say that I was actually an audience member here a year ago.
You were perhaps sitting somewhere around
Probably
here.
somewhere around about
seat.
there, probably at the back somewhere. But yeah, I knew relatively little about Guernsey. But before it became an idea, I'll be honest, I thought Guernsey was just a place where old people went to drink tea and eat cake by the sea. But it's a lot more.
Which, by the way, sounds very pleasant.
Yeah, the sausage rolls were fantastic as well. But why you would want to, and why I am moving my business from London, where it's been operating for 20 years to Guernsey is, I mean, there's a number of important reasons. One is that the financial conditions are more favourable. So if you were to structure it in the right way, you can recapitalise your business for growth. Secondly, there's a wealth of expertise and talent on this island, especially, I mean, what I do, financial services. So you can develop a very, very good, highly skilled team. And lastly, and probably most importantly, you're going to hear this a lot during this conference, is the work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's unrivaled. My commute on the Central Line when it was working was about an hour.
I mentioned the Central Line earlier. You actually used to do that.
Yeah. That is now 10 minutes on an electric scooter.
Yeah.
And I can be home in 10 minutes and on the beach in 5 minutes to go surfing with my daughter.
Yeah.
And what that does is it creates a highly motivated, highly productive workforce.
So it's actually made quite a big difference to your life, actually having some extra time back, you know, with less commuting, more time at home, as you say, more time with your family.
Absolutely. I think everybody has a lot more time. People aren't rushed around. And what that does is, you know, somebody touched on it earlier, it's that sense of community. That people have got the time for each other. And yeah, I mean, my social life, I didn't think my social life would be as busy in Guernsey as it is now. It's way more busy than it was in London. There's always something going on. I'm going to a Taylor Swift tribute act on Sunday with a load of colleagues.
Just to clarify,
with my family.
Are you performing?
I'm not.
Okay,
I might bring this with me, but
yeah, we've got the right microphones. Yeah.
So there's what that. I mean,
it sums up the variety.
It sums up the variety, and you're able to create strong bonds with your colleagues, and it's it's a fantastic place to bring a business, and it's a fantastic place to live.
So good for business and for lifestyle as well. Greta, I just want to bring you in there because let's say we do have Andrew and his business wanting to move it over to Guernsey. What sort of conversations are you having? What sort of advice are you providing to someone like Andrew?
So it may be worthwhile considering setting up a new Guernsey company rather than trying to look at the migration route, which can be a bit more complicated. So it might be that, and again, depending on tax advice, that the business gets picked up and plopped into the new Guernsey company. Very technical term there. The process to set up a new Guernsey company is incredibly simple. So we've got an online companies registry. Due diligence would be collated when you speak to your corporate service provider, which is essential because they're the ones who can actually file the incorporation documents. And it can be done within 24 hours or even faster, as with many things these days. If you pay a premium, you can get an express decision. And again, kind of going back to that community and network point, it might be that there is more than one shareholder of the company and a shareholders agreement needs to be in place. Well, as a corporate service provider, I've got great links with law firms. I can bring one of them in to draft that to make sure that everything's covered off. So that really kind of holistic approach.
Straightforward process, says Greta, maybe can even be done in 24 hours. Would you go along with that, Justin? And indeed, is that your experience? Have you got maybe examples of people you've worked with over your recent months with Innovate Guernsey who've said to you, look, we love it because this experience is quick and easy?
I'm going to echo the community and connection bit. And I'll give you an example. I had a pharmaceutical company looking at some quite special seaweed we got growing off the island and how we could potentially cultivate that in our waters. So within 24 hours of them landing on the island, I had our political lead for economic development, our second in command for environment and infrastructure from a political perspective, head of ACLAMS, that's agriculture and land management, same as sort of DEFRA, sea fisheries, and some legal representation in the room, all at the same time. So within 24 hours of them knowing that they were going to come to Guernsey, we had all of that set up so we could explore just at a high level all of the possibilities there. And it turns out it is a very nice place to grow Ascophyllum nodosum, egg rack, if any of you are interested in that.
Goodness me, we won't test the audience on what that actually means, but it sounds very lovely. Thank you very much, Dee, for that. I just wonder, because we should give people a realistic picture of what they can expect. I know you were saying, look, it can be straightforward, it can work well, it can be very quick. But Andrew, what's your experience, I mean, how have you found things? Perhaps you can give people a flavour of what to expect, what to be aware of when moving a business to Guernsey.
I think, look, use Locate Guernsey as a resource. I think just have an idea of everything that you need to do from a business perspective, but also a personal perspective, because many of the things that you will need to do will be familiar, but they will operate slightly differently. So just give yourself the biggest runway possible to make sure that you, like I say, you understand what you need to do in the timeframes that you want to do it. I mean, my dealings with the financial regulator over here, this is quite a good example. I think the general perception is that they are a bit restrictive, but I would say that is the complete opposite. I would say that they are open, they are approachable, understanding. I think, given the fact that they are essentially a financial centre of excellence, it's all predicated on a mutual expectation of trust and integrity. So they want to get it right with you first time.
For people thinking out here, well, look, what are the key benefits? I know we're going to talk a bit more about tax in detail a little later, but for you, what have been maybe the benefits of this move to Guernsey with your business?
I'd say the proximity to London as well is a key benefit. When we first moved over here, my wife she's kept her job in London.
Right.
So she commutes every Wednesday to Friday. So she's on the 6:20 a.m. from Guernsey.
Is that still happening now?
Yeah. 6:20 a.m. She's at a desk in the city by 8:30. So it's not really that much different to travelling in from a London suburb.
On the central line.
On the central line, yes.
So that's a benefit, being close to London. You like
it is,
and I guess the competitive aspect maybe that Guernsey has above possibly being somewhere else.
Yeah, and everything still feels familiar. It's not like you're moving a business to Dubai or something like that. So culturally, we're still very much aligned, and it hasn't been a culture shock, put it that way.
Yeah.
I'd say Guernsey's more English than England.
People drinking lots of tea. Yeah. Just wonder, what do people need to know about what they need to have lined up, Greta, before maybe potentially moving their business to Guernsey? What sort of economic requirements do they need to consider?
Again, really goes back to that initial tax advice. That's my kind of top tip for the day, if you'd like. Excuse me. Also, I think just in terms of not just working with maybe a corporate service provider, but for banking and for other purposes, it's actually really, this is a really practical point, it's really useful if you have a certified copy identification document and a utility bill within the last 3 months, because you will be asked for that by most service providers. So actually, in that kind of preparation stage, it's probably the last thing that's on your mind when you're trying to think about a house at a school. But just having some of those real practical aspects covered, I think, can make a massive difference.
I just wonder, Justin, if we come to you, because you mentioned earlier about looking to have this diverse economy in Guernsey. For people wondering, look, is it just, is it law firms and finance firms you're looking to welcome to Guernsey? What would you say to that?
So we're building community groups from the Innovate Guernsey board. So and assembling sort of enthusiastic amateurs and professionals alike, because we recognise that our skill set in the board, we're largely techie, we're largely digital development and skills development. So I've had a reasonably long queue of renewables, from drone techs on submarine cables to more small scale stuff. We've had some health tech businesses and organisations working with NHS trusts over here looking to start up and also scale up in Guernsey, because it's a perfect microcosm to test your ideas and then scale from Guernsey. But similarly, we've had some sort of quite large industries move to the island over the years. So in my tenure, we were the world's largest provider of online gambling infrastructure for many, many years. So more than half the world's entire infrastructure was based in Guernsey. So I want to pick up on Andrew's connectivity point. Because of industries like that, we've developed real cutting edge technology. So every home and every business is connected directly to fibre, a couple of gig per second. But Guernsey in and of itself is strategically important for global communications, so directly connected to the main transatlantic cable systems. So because of that, the guts of the infrastructure, we get a lot of quite interesting businesses turn up on the island.
That is interesting. And I wonder as well, just from a practical point of view, because look, we should give a really clear picture for people here today. If people are looking to move their businesses over, we had the property chat, didn't we, just before you guys came to set up here. If people are looking to move businesses over, move staff over, etc., is there the practicality to do that? Is there the ability to, find the right homes, get people up and running? I don't know if any of you got a specific view on that.
I mean, from having premises on the island to operate your business from, that is quite key in terms of the sort of tax regulations that I mentioned, the economic substance rules. So if you're running a business where you will actually have a physical presence and employ people, that actually really helps with that situation. We're supporting a firm at the moment who need to have a presence in Guernsey, but they haven't got anyone they can kind of deploy to the island just yet. So what we're doing is we're incorporating a Guernsey company for them. We'll act as their registered office until they can find a location that's suitable. And when they start employing people, we have brought in an employment lawyer to introduce to them to make sure that they're fully advised on any Guernsey employment law aspects, which might well be different from other jurisdictions they're in. And then they're looking to employ, I think, 20 to 30 people locally as well. So hopefully that's another positive message for the island.
Do you have anything to say at all on that, Andrew, in terms of that process of moving over? Maybe, I don't know, is it a combination of hiring people locally or bringing some of your team with you?
I'm in the middle of it.
Okay, right.
Right now.
How's it going? Where are you sort of at with it, I suppose?
Yeah, we're at the stage of, we've submitted our license application. But we're going through those conversations with the regulator right now. But to your point on demonstrating substance, I'm moving my business into a pre-existing company, so Titan Channel Islands. And we are leveraging the expertise that's already there.
Right.
Whilst also maintaining some business still in London. I'll be honest, I manage a sales team in London, and you tried convincing 25-year-olds to move to Guernsey. It's quite difficult.
Right.
Although they love it.
Yeah.
They've been here. I took them to the bathing pools. But there is apparently, there's only one nightclub here. So.
Which is great.
And you wouldn't want to go
above the age of 30. But I don't know, did you have anything to add on that? Just in terms of, can things, be made to happen if the situation's right?
Look, if you're looking to move your manufacturing base to Guernsey and set up a factory, it's probably not the right place to do that. Although we've got a thriving electronics and manufacturing sector, but no, we have the full strata of education provision, adult education provision, and the resources you can tap into. You're never going to fill an office up with 100 new staff. We have the provision to bring experts back into the island or to the island. And I touched on the gambling industry earlier. We started that with just a handful, half a dozen of us. By the time that reached its zenith, it employed 250 people, specialists, and was generating £50 million a year for the economy. So it's possible to start up, backed with the appropriate regulatory and legal regimes, which we do have, and the ability to easily set up. It's possible to start up something completely fresh and scale to that sort of level.
You said something interesting. Did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I would say if you are moving a business, it is easier to move it into something, I'm speaking from my perspective, a business that pre-exists here, because you can sponsor key employees. Things like, from my own personal experience, I'm sponsored to purchase on the local market. So I've received a permit through that company, and that has made things a lot easier. If I was to do this from scratch, I don't know what the challenges would be there. But I found that to be an easy transition for me. And there are other ways to bring other key employees over if I need to.
Okay, so the options are there. That's interesting what you were saying about the sort of local open markets. You have the option, if you like, to get on the local market route. Is that what you were saying?
That's it.
So that can happen, can it, Greta, in certain circumstances? Because obviously we had the property chat earlier. But it's good to build on that a bit further.
Yeah, as you say, it probably is easier if you can integrate your business with something existing, or potentially if you set up a new Guernsey company. I think you've still got those options as well. It really depends on the nature of what the business is doing, and whether that needs to be physically sort of to have a physical presence and people on the ground in Guernsey, or it might be a parent company, which is then kind of a slightly different aspect as well. That if you've got that parent company, you probably don't need necessarily boots on the ground so much. And again, it's where a corporate service provider can come in and help support that as kind of almost like an outsourced function to support the statutory and administrative work.
Okay.
And government's got an open door for unusual and novel applications for housing licenses. I've just rolled out a fibre network in the island to connecting every single property, and we needed some specialist skills that weren't particularly high value, definitely weren't able to be found on the island, so it didn't naturally fit into our sort of immigration policies. So it was relatively trivial for me. It took the right connections within government, i.e. speaking to the right people. It was relatively trivial to be able to say, well, okay, let's have a carve out for this. I only need these guys and girls for 2 years. So we could bring in relatively low value in terms of salary, but high skilled base resources to the island. And it goes back to that sort of lithe and nimble nature of where we live and work. We can figure it out and work our way through things very, very quickly.
So we've got some people here. I was just going to say, Greta, quickly, whether we have got some people here to, thinking about moving their business to Guernsey. What sort of things should they be knocking on your door, Justin, and asking you? What sort of specific, insight help can you provide them with?
It starts from a coffee and a chat, right? So we sit down, talk through not your business plan in detail, but broad church stuff, and can very, very quickly hook you up with the right elements of government, both politically, civil service, regulatory, and organisations that can help from a CSP perspective or legal perspective, or even like-minded individuals, because it always helps to really collaborate and share. And that's the role of Innovate Guernsey, is to hook with a glue, to hook these things together.
Sorry, did you want to come in and add anything?
I was kind of going to say something similar, that I think, there's obviously a theme that there's a community and we can be nimble and quick and pulling the right people together. And I think that's something that we also look to do, where if it's a sort of within the financial services industry, we can pull people together quite quickly. The Commission, as our regulator, are quite collaborative as well. The company registrar, I had coffee with her on Monday, so people are very accessible, aren't they? And I think they're keen to help.
You can see people quickly in a small island. I think that's fair to say. And I guess it's important to stress, isn't it, Andrew, for people thinking, look, I just purely want to move my business to Guernsey because it feels like it's going to be advantageous for the business. I guess you would say, well, look, it's a lifestyle choice as well as a business choice. Was that right for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, not just from a business sense, but make sure it works for you personally. Like I said, this was a year in the making for me, and I made sure I did my due diligence. I came over many times with my wife and 11-year-old daughter, and I think it was said earlier in the property discussion. Make sure you decide, go and see all of the parishes, because they all each have their various charms. Go and see the schools, because they are fantastic too. And that was a big turning point for us as well. Where we live in East London, I think we didn't realise the level of educational care that you could get in Guernsey for cheaper. It was just, that was a big turning point. Very pastoral as well. There aren't many independent schools. All of the schools are fantastic, by the way. But they were all fantastic.
That made a difference for you. And we
difference
have, by the
for me,
way, got an education chat coming in the afternoon. So if you have got children potentially heading to a school in Guernsey, either now or in the years ahead, please do stick around for that. Just quickly before we go to our questions from the audience, a quick line on what it is about Guernsey that you particularly enjoy. I asked the property panel, but it's interesting to get a different perspective. What is it that makes it stand out? For you, Greta?
I think really the culture, which Andrew kind of touched on as well, that I'm a Guernsey girl, born and bred, lived there my entire life, so I'm obviously super biased, but I think there's just a really nice, friendly way about everyone. And when you get people moving to the islands, they can get integrated into the community quite quickly, but also without fuss. So taking a kind of famous person example, Jensen Button used to live on the island.
Okay.
You'd see him in his joggers in Costa grabbing a coffee, and you'd sort of give him a nod, and that would be it. You'd all just go about your business. So I think that's
if you need some legal advice, Jensen, come our way, sort of thing.
Business card.
Friendly stuff.
So yeah, that kind of nice balance between friendly but also being quite relaxed and laid back as well.
Thank you. Anything to add?
I've got to echo that. It's the connectivity, the community, the no judgment.
Yeah.
It's your example of Joseph Button there. And that goes to business too. It's also extremely safe. I haven't owned a front door.
I mean, that is it. You leave your front doors unlocked, don't you? Your car doors unlocked. That's common.
I haven't owned a key to my house for the last 16 years, right?
Is that because you lost it? There's no point getting another one cut. I can just leave it open.
I sleep in the shed. Yeah. No, it's extremely safe. And that's from a community aspect and also in terms of starting up businesses.
Yeah. Really good points. Safety, that's a really interesting one as well. Thank you very much for that. I wonder if we can grab a couple of questions from you in the audience. I'm conscious, we'll try and get to that side as well. I'm conscious we didn't have many questions from this side earlier. So I want to give the opportunity for this side of the room. If there is a question you have for Justin, for Greta, for Andrew, please do let us know. Put your hand up because we have Abby there waiting with the microphone. Not as yet over that side. Hold that thought. But we had a lady here in the blue with the scarf. Thank you very much, Esther. We'll get that microphone to you. And if it is a certain question for a specific member of the panel or a general one, just let us know. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Christine Morland, and I just wondered where you were saying that everyone's got fibre and everything, and we've had a lot of in the news about cybersecurity, and I wondered what steps the government and, in fact, the country is taking to stop the kind of attacks that have happened recently.
Brilliant. Well,
it's a big issue. It's a topical issue that a lot of people are talking about. Thank you for that.
I'll definitely take that because I ran our incumbent telecommunications company for 5 years prior to taking this role and 20 years before that. So built the security that we got there. We're very well blessed. And my stomping ground was Guernsey, Jersey, Isle of Man, Falklands, Bermuda, Ascension, some military bases, that sort of stuff. So the cybersecurity infrastructure that we've got at a macro level is world class. I was losing countries around the world. We lost the Maldives when I had that at a territory level. But the infrastructure we built there, because of the main transatlantic cable systems coming through the islands and diverse connections through north into the UK, east through Jersey into France and south directly into France, we're extremely well blessed in terms of cyber protection from a telco level. In fact, we were the first jurisdiction in the world to commercialize, and I'm going to get really geeky now, a distributed denial of service mitigation platform. We did that for the gambling guys. That moved into retail banking and then into online shopping. So we run a Channel Islands CERT, so cyber security threat department that's governmental, linking directly to the UK government. So we're very, very well blessed in terms of protection for that sort of stuff. Okay. I mentioned earlier as well, I've got a startup company that's looking to see if they can trial undersea drones to look at our submarine infrastructure. So that's from a telecommunications perspective, or indeed the majority of our energy comes over a cable from France.
Thank you for that context. Really important. Good question. Thank you very much indeed, Justin. Do you have another question for our panel? Any more hands in the air? Anything you want to hear from Greta or from Andrew? We have one in the middle. Thank you very much.
Hi there. My name is Paul Dullahay. Question was, if you do set up a Guernsey-based company, does that then gain you access to the local market?
In terms of property,
In terms of property, yes.
that is an excellent question.
Is it a little bit nuanced? Is it not a straightforward, yes, it does, or no, it doesn't?
I am not a property expert, but it's definitely something I could consult with my colleagues on and find out more. I think it depends who's going to live in the property as well. So I don't think it's as straightforward as if I set up a Guernsey company, I can buy on the local market. I think there probably are some more nuances around that.
So if it was going to be me being the director of the company and living in the property, just to clarify.
It would depend as well on what license you've moved to the island on. So I would, in that case, as a corporate service provider, not a lawyer, I would refer you to a property lawyer to give you the proper advice.
Property lawyer to get that right answer. It's a really good question. Thanks very much indeed.
Okay,
And the benefit is we do have lots of experts across a number of different spheres here through the rest of the day for you to ask your questions. The Locate Guernsey team can, of course, point you in the right direction as well. In the meantime, thank you very much for our business panelists, to Andrew, to Greta, to Justin. Thank you very much indeed.